Let's get to our panel now. Bruce Hawker and Kerry Chikarovsky. Great to see you both. Kerry, this rate rise, the 9th consecutive rate rise, and really this is where the politics of the day will be dominated over coming months, because already a lot of households are hurting, Kerry.
Oh, absolutely. And clearly, for example, the opposition are going to make the best they can of these rate rises. Not so much the rate rises, but the general cost of living increases. Remember, Kieran, the government, when it was campaigning last year, said cost of living was going to be a big thing for them and that they were going to bring the cost of living down. Well, I had a bit of time today, so I listened to Question Time, and there were lots of questions from the opposition about how people are having to pay large increases in their energy bills. And I think the problem for the government is that the narrative, not only from the opposition, but indeed from a lot of the media commentators, will be, well, you said energy was going to come down. You didn't predict that there would be this big an interest rate rise, but, you know, you're going to be blamed for that interest rate rise, even though it's hands off for you. But, you know, petrol prices are going up. Everything's going up at the moment. And if I'm a punter sitting at home and I'm looking at what the government told me they were going to do, I'm looking for someone to blame, and I'm going to blame the government unless the government does something about it. And I listened to Ed Husick earlier, I appreciate they're doing things on childcare and, you know, wanting to get more manufacturing back into the economy so that there's, we don't have supply chain issues, but they're longer term things. And the immediate problem for the government will be what happens to people's living standards over the next 12 months.
Yeah, but that's a good point. That's the political equation here. People are businesses, households with mortgages in a difficult spot. And Governor Lowe, Bruce, is saying that the pathway, he's reiterated that the pathway to a soft landing remains a narrow one. So there's no guarantee all of this works anyway in terms of avoiding a recession.
That's right, Kieran. I think, look, if you look at this from a mile above the political landscape, you'd say, well, the first year the government's done a good job in transitioning. They've made a really fair start of that, and it's reflected in the polls and so forth. This year, however, is where I think there's going to be a lot of bumpy parts to the road, and Labor is going to be blamed for a period of time for rising interest rates, because that's what you do when a government's in, and they've been in for 12 months. You start looking to them and saying, well, what are you going to do about it? Now, they will be doing a number of things about it, but rising interest rates in order to deal with inflation is a bit of a blunt instrument, really, but it's really one of the few that we have. And I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see a significant impact on Labor's opinion polling in this coming 12 months. But we have 3-year terms, and provided that they're going into the final year of their term with it under control, and interest rates coming down and any sign of a recession receding into the background, then people will say, well, you've done a pretty good job in weathering that storm, and we're coming out the other side. I think that's the way it's likely to play out. But I do think that the next 12 months are going to be much tougher for Anthony Albanese and Jim Chalmers than the first 12 months were.